Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Make Your Mark podcast. And oh boy, do I have a special guest for you today. Her name is Christie Ruffino, and she's the CEO of Mastery Unleashed Coaching. Now, this is designed to be the last business coaching you'll ever need on your quest to have a profitable legacy business, helping others live better lives. Now, she also helps her clients harness the power of story strategies and community to scale their business, make money, and reclaim their time. But when Christie isn't helping her clients build empires, you'll find her playing pickleball, riding her Harley, or patiently awaiting the next visit with her daughter and grandkids. And Christie's current life goal is to help 100, nope, 1,000 mission-driven women stop chasing shiny objects and start enjoying a time freedom six-figure business. Oh my goodness, Christie, I've got so many questions. I know this is going to be an epic episode. Thank you for coming on the show.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. I'm glad you corrected the 100 because I don't even think 1,000 is big enough. So we definitely wanted to help more than 100, but let's go to a minimum of 1,000 women.
Absolutely, absolutely. The more we can help, the better it's going to be for the world and for all these individuals, right? It's going to be epic. Now, oh boy. So, one of the first questions I would love for you to share with our audience today is we all know business don't happen at a click of a finger, right? We don't just wake up one day and we have a million or $1 billion business. It doesn't happen, right? We wish it did, but it doesn't. And so I would love for you to share a little bit about your background. Like, what was your journey like? What were some of the ups and downs you went through to actually build this awesome, thriving business that you have now?
Yeah, well, I will say I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. I remember being maybe 8 or 9 years old, and me and my brother and my cousin was where we were hired by my grandmother to pick up sticks in her yard. And my mission was pick up as many sticks as I could, and then I went to the local 7-Eleven, bought candy, sold it to all the neighborhood kids, and made more money. So I always have had that kind of mindset around how to just have that entrepreneurial mindset. But I never really intended to build a business as an entrepreneur. I thought I was going to work at some fancy corporation and do all this great stuff. But of course, sometimes life has different plans for us. I got married. I helped my husband create his amazing business. We had an auto repair shop with multiple locations and a bunch of employees. However, when that marriage ended, I was left with no income stream possible. At least I thought at the time. I had the resume that I worked for our own company, but how does that translate out in the job force? And so I ended up by getting a job. It was a great job in the mortgage industry. I loved it. Then I ended up by building a women's networking organization. And so I didn't plan to do that. But as an introvert, I realized that it was much better for me to be the leader of the organization and build a lead specific group than just to go out and network with a bunch of strangers. And then about 10 years into that, somebody asked me to share my story about how I overcame near bankruptcy and built this, six-figure networking organization. And that's what got me on the whole journey of story. So long story, hopefully that wasn't too long when I shared it, but I really realized at that moment that our stories are there. Like, we go through our journey to help others, because otherwise all of our woes and all of our successes and failures would be wasted if we didn't share that wisdom with other people. And so, I love now helping other people take that leap, as well as other things in my business.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Now, Christie, I mean, you've got so much different experiences in different aspects of business, right?
Yes.
And so, how did you decide what kind of business you wanted to create when you know so much and can do so much in different ways?
Yeah. Well, honestly, that is a benefit and a curse, because the fact that I can do a lot and I've learned how to do so many things, it
Right.
is kind of hampering me from doing the one thing really, really well. And so that's one of the things that I've just really focused on in the last 3 months or 3 years. Although I still, like, I just closed down my women's networking organization, December of 2023, after being together for 21 years. I still have my publishing company and I love that, but I have a team of people doing all of the pieces of that puzzle. But as a business coach, I feel like I make a bigger impact and I'm doing the best I can to stay focused on that and applying all of the skills and the wisdom that I've learned by doing all of the other things as my on-the-job training to be able to help my clients.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
And so for what I'm hearing is that you've just continued to progress,
Yes,
right?
it's been an
You
evolution. Yeah.
Right, absolutely. And that's exactly what business should be. Now, I would
Yeah.
love for you to share with our audience today what it is that you actually do right now, how you help your clients.
Yeah. Well, I hate sharing this, but I really feel that it's important. I have spent $129,000 on
Oh,
coaches and seminars and workshops and all education around becoming the best entrepreneur I can.
wow.
However, much of that investment, although I don't ever believe it was wasted, many of the coaches I paid to help me didn't actually help me.
Right.
And it was okay because I had still had my publishing company and I got clients, and it was never a loss in any way, shape, or form. However, I saw many women that lost their retirement accounts, they lost their whole life savings because they were investing in a coach to buy their own dreams, but the coach didn't necessarily care about that. And so what I do is I partner with people that I love their vision, I see the potential in their business, and I help them on basically a no risk offer. And so it's a pay per results once they get in. If we both feel it's a good fit. I mean, there is an initial investment to get access to all of my systems and processes and initial support, but they don't pay me anything else until I help them get to specific revenue milestones. So the whole journey is about teamwork and me showing up for them, like they show up to make the progress in the journey, in the coaching journey. And then I find that my clients are actually getting amazing results because they feel like they're not alone, and I feel like I'm investing in their success. And so I love it. I love when I get text messages or messages from my clients that they got another client or they reached their next milestone. It's so rewarding to me, and that's why I know I'm finally after all of the things I've done, I'm finally in the right lane where I can utilize all of my different skills.
I love that. I love that. Now, I mean, you work with people all over the world, right? And
Yes.
you've been working with so many different individuals. What are some of the, I guess, three top challenges or even mistakes that you see people making time and time again that you actually help people kind of get over?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to start with story. It's not like the biggest mistake, but I think it's a huge mistake if business owners or entrepreneurs are not leveraging their story correctly. Because our
Ah,
story is what makes us different than the rest of our competition. Anybody can buy a widget, but nobody can buy your widget because you have a different reason why you're doing it. You have different experiences. And when your clients get to know your why, you become more attractive to them, and then that partnership becomes like more of a loyal ongoing relationship. It's a relationship as opposed to a transaction.
right, absolutely. Now, you speak about people not talking about their stories, right?
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
I know I've gone through this and I'm like, oh, I can't tell them that bit. Now, what are they going to be saying if they know I did all of this when I was younger, right?
I know. I
So
know.
how do you get over the fear factor of being judged if you do tell people, what
Yeah.
actually happened in your past to get to where you are today?
Yes. Well, I am like the first one when my mentor asked me to share my story. Well, my mentor connected me with the publisher. And she invited me to share my story. And like, I was a hard no, like, no, 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 no. I'm an introvert. First of all, who wants to hear my story? Second of all, I don't want to be vulnerable and share my story because I don't want to appear weak. I, at that point, was already a leader of a bunch of, leaders and their members. And I didn't really want them to see me in that way. However, when I did eventually say yes and share my story, what I found is, first of all, I helped people. I mean, the first time somebody reached out to me and thanked me for sharing my story because they were like in the weeds of their mess. And my story inspired them that there's light at the end of the tunnel. But then I had this whole, like all of these clients that didn't really know me personally. And so by being vulnerable with them, I became more relatable. It allowed them to feel like they knew me better and were more connected with me. And I really believe that was one of the reasons why our organization stayed successful for so long, is because I let it out. Like they got to know the real me through that specific story.
Oh my goodness. I love that. I love that. So if anyone comes up to you, and I'm sure you probably still have clients like, no, I can't do that, or I'm just going to tell them this bit, right? What is
Yeah.
the best way, or is there a process, should I say, to just get over yourself and just tell people?
Well, I don't know if I think you just have to decide.
Mm,
Leveraging your story in business is going to make your business stronger, and more importantly, it's going to make you stronger. I like to say, when you share your story or write your story, I think writing is a big piece to it. Even if you don't publish it, I think it's really important to write it, get it out like on paper. That whole process of writing is very therapeutic.
mm,
But what happens is when you get your story out, there's like a healing process to it, and it allows you to write your next better story. And so I've seen most of my clients where they did struggle with the story process, but then when they were done, like they just like ran. It was just like explosion in their life and in their business. And so I think it's really, really important to be able to reconcile that and just make a decision. I'm going to do it.
yeah.
And like the first couple iterations of my story, the first time I shared it, it's a process. It's a
Ah,
process. That's all I
oh,
could say.
see, that was going to be the next thing that popped into my mind because I'm like, okay, there's one thing telling your story, but is there a way of actually telling it? Because I know some people can spend days telling their story, right? And we don't have days to listen to someone's story. And so,
Yep.
how do we go about the strategy of making sure that the story we put together is number one, the story that people want to hear, that they feel inspired by, but also you can tell them very quickly about some of the stuff that
Yeah.
you do.
Yeah. Well, this is something that I've kind of been working through for the last 11 years, since the first time I helped somebody else write their story. And at first, I had no idea what I was doing. But I've done so much research and helped so many people. I actually have a 7 scene framework to help people write their story. So that way, you, as the author, are not necessarily the hero, you are the guide. So your audience recognizes you as a person to help them have their own better story. And so
Ah,
you want to make sure you share it in the right way. But I think the hardest part people have is determining which story to share. And
ah,
this all comes back to my second key point, and I'm going to kind of connect these. The
mhm,
second biggest mistake people have is they don't hone in on their ideal client. They
ah,
want to help everybody, or they want to be so broad in their like potential client, opportunities, is they never become known as the expert.
mhm.
They always like, honestly, this is one of the things that I had to get over, and I'm still working on, is I don't want to be known as the jack of all trades. I want to
Right.
become known as the master of one. And it's
Mm,
a mindset thing to change that. And I think it's also a progression. Like, I think you have to build confidence to get to that point. And as a new coach or a new business owner, sometimes you have to help everybody to figure out what that one thing is.
right. Oh, I
But
love that.
I'll pivot back to the story, because when you know your ideal client, what
Yeah.
you want to do is figure out which story of yours is the story that's going to get them to recognize you as the person that can help them with their story. And that's the story we want to have, is the story that is going to be the most relatable to our ideal client. Not everybody, just our ideal client. And when we hone in on that, we master our story. Our story can then be used in multiple ways, like multiple story assets. That will help us on our website, when we talk, on social media, in a book, in your signature talk, all of those ways. That is your key message to continually attract your ideal clients.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Now, I know some people that are listening to this episode are probably thinking, but then it just sounds all the same. Don't you need to have different stories?
Yeah, well, if you can have different stories to teach mini lessons when you teach, because we know that people learn better through stories than by being told something. So
Right.
it's good to have little stories to teach various pieces, but your core message needs to stay consistent
Ah,
because it's your why and it's what you're going to use as your platform to attract, like a magnet, all of these people that can see you as the solution to their problem, and more importantly, create partnerships, like joint venture partnerships. Because if you're doing everything, your partners, your referral partners, can't necessarily connect you because they're never having light bulb moments on who is a perfect client for you. But if you only do one thing, like a brain surgeon, somebody needs brain surgery, they're going to go to the brain surgeon. And everybody that knows you as a brain surgeon is going to be like, oh, go to Kay. She is the best brain surgeon around. And then you become easier to refer. And if we think about that in our business, if we can share our story in like one or two sentences, why we are so passionate about what we do and who we do it for, it allows other people to help us better, as well as our clients to keep referring clients to us. And ideally, that's the best way to grow our business, is through referrals and continual support from our current clients.
I love that. I love that. Oh my goodness. And I think that's such a key takeaway there, what you mentioned, that if we don't hone into what we are an expert in, others won't know how to have those light bulb moments.
Yeah.
Partners or
Yeah.
JVs, they won't come to us. We won't get those opportunities because you've totally confused not only your clients, but everyone else around you in your network too, right? So
Exactly.
that is absolutely key. Such a golden nugget there. And so what would be the third thing that a lot of people have challenges on?
Well, so I work with mostly women. And
Hmm.
so I think the third challenge that women, I see, at least my clients have, is that they don't look at all of their activities as if they need to be revenue generating activities. They stay busy, and a lot of it's to avoid doing the things that they should be doing. But they also just have such goodwill that they want to say yes, they want to do all these things. But if it doesn't move the needle forward in your business in some way that is going to get you additional revenue, you as the expert can't continue to do what you do. So it needs to be like, you need to have business goals. You need to think about everything you do that will lead to some sort of income stream. So then you can continue to grow and expand and help more people.
Oh my goodness. That is another, I guess,
Mhm.
area a lot of women go through because we're so busy helping everybody out as well, right?
Yeah.
And get involved in everything and which like to fix things, right?
Yes. Yes.
And we tend to
Yes.
forget about the fact that we need to be making money, right? We
Yeah.
need to be monetizing. And so
Yeah.
that is another key point in the fact that we forget to put ourselves first sometimes,
Yes.
but maybe more than we should really. But
Yes.
that is super, super cool. I love the fact that you mentioned that.
Can
Now,
I ask you a question?
yes, please.
Can we take a moment to talk about monetizing a podcast? Because
Oh,
I know that is something that a lot of my clients ask about. It's a question that I've had over the years. I know the reason why I did my podcast is so I could give my clients a platform to like grow their business. And so it was a monetization tool for me because it allowed me to get more clients and serve my
right.
clients better. And I know there's a lot of other ways that we can monetize our podcast. But I thought, being you're that podcast expert, can we take a moment to talk about this?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, monetizing is just one aspect, like you said, right? And when you have like books and amazing books that you create for your clients and helping people with their business coaching and really putting it all together, it comes to a time where you need to be ready for when it comes to launching your own podcast,
Mhm.
right? A lot of people go from guesting first on podcasts and getting themselves out there and letting people know, which is a great first step to have. And I always say to people, if you've not gone into the podcasting world, do that first, right? Then you'll actually realize whether you want to have your podcast or not. But
Yeah,
don't jump into having your own podcast, because a lot of people don't realize how much work it is,
a
right?
lot of
And how
work.
much commitment you have to put in. And so going through that process and guessing and then deciding to launch your own podcast is the first step, right? Now, in
Yep.
regards to monetizing, a lot of people, they go through pod fade, right? Because they think that money is going to come instantly, right? The
Mhm.
minute they have their podcast, is going to come instantly. And that's not the case. You got to be in it for the long term, and it's a build up. It's a
Yeah.
huge commitment. Okay. But the reason why business owners should have a podcast is, the way I see it, it's an asset, right? It's an extension of your business, your book, all these other things that you have built around it. And so when it comes to monetization, there's several ways to be able to monetize. Okay, several ways. One of the things is, people tend to forget to actually mention or advertise their own
Yeah.
services or products.
Yeah.
Right? So you absolutely should be doing that. As you build up, there's going to be more opportunities to actually monetize, right? You can also monetize using your affiliates. If there's any systems or programs that you absolutely love that you use, advertise that on your podcast as well and let people know. And then eventually, when you start building up on your audience, also being able to monetize on the guests that come onto your show.
Yeah.
Okay. You can start doing all of that, but the doors do start opening up the minute you keep at it, you keep consistent, you keep showing up, and also market it. Just
Yes.
because you have a podcast doesn't mean everyone's going to know about it. You got to make sure you actually market it and let people know on social media, your email list, your friends, your network, at events, that you actually have a podcast,
That's a little
right?
bit of a key factor. Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. And so that, yeah, so there's several different ways, but one of the biggest challenges I see people having is that they don't actually market their
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. I see that too. I see
Mm.
that too. And I know one of the things that I did not necessarily recognize and utilize is the fact that because my podcast is completely now, I've done a rebranding and it's completely aligned with my core offer, that all of my guests can become potential clients because everything is in alignment. But that's why it's so important to become an expert and do one thing and have everything along that same journey, because it is a great way to get clients from the guests that you have on your show.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of people
Yeah.
say, should they do solo? Should they do guests? And you can totally mix it up.
Yeah.
But the key thing is here, if you're going to have guests, remember they're the hottest leads you have. They're right in front of you. The
Yes.
audience is the cold lead, which you have to nurture, and it may
Yes.
come to fruition later on down the line. But people forget about the guest,
Yes.
right? Or the
Yeah.
host, depends on if you're guesting or if you're having your own podcast. They forget the person that's right there in front of them,
Yes,
right?
I agree. So yeah, I thank you for like kind of like pivoting a little bit there, because I think that monetization of a show and the fact that I was able to, like, I got you as an expert in that area to share a little bit on that. That was good. Thanks.
No worries. You're welcome. You're welcome. But now going back to what you do for your clients, right? Because
Yes.
what you do is making sure they get set up to actually scale their business, which is so important, right? You got to
Mhm.
make sure that there's no gaps missing, and so you are helping them with the business coaching, making
Yep.
sure that they've got the foundations right, and then you help them then explore to actually write a book, right? So
Yeah.
explain what that process looks like, and how long it actually takes.
Yeah, well, so with our business coaching, the key is to help them determine who their ideal client is and what is their high ticket offer. Like, what is the core offer that they can create that will really generate a lot of income, make huge transformations in their clients, and have it designed so it's open enrollment. I am not a big fan of launching. I think there's a lot of work to launches. There's a lot of everything. Where if you have an open enrollment program, which is not hard to do if you know the system, then with that, you can actually bring people at any stage of their journey and get them plugged in a way that they can get traction right away and get through the process, and that everybody in that program is all kind of going along at the same, whoever they're in their cohorts, they're like in the same space in their journey. So it can be done, and it's so much easier. And what we do is once they get to the point where they've got all of that mapped out, they've got an amazing offer, which is their core program. I help them with their prospect conversion machine, how to get all of their leads in and get them funneled into conversations for invitations to work with them. And then finally, it becomes the goal of creating your platform, getting your message out there, making sure you've got your signature message, your signature talk, your signature book, all of that. And so we don't want to do that first, because if we can't lead them, your audience, I mean, I see that so much, and we've been helping people have books for 10 years. But they didn't have an offer. So they're going out there and they're speaking and they're creating this business and they're doing all these activities to sell, like a $20 book or a $15 book where they get $3 or $4 of royalties. Like, that is the slow path to bankruptcy. But if you have your offer in place, then when you're out speaking and when you're out networking and when you're out on podcasts, now you have a way to actually make money and help people.
Right. I love that. I love that. Now, okay, I've got a question here where I guess people are not too sure about, right? So
Okay.
people say that you've got to have a book, right? Because it's like your business card, it's one of the first things that you should do once you have an established business. Now, number one, is that true? Or should people be waiting? And how long should they wait before they decide to actually write a book?
Yes. So I've been helping people co-author books
Ah.
for this whole time. Now, a lot of people have gone on to do their own book, but
Mhm.
my first step is usually to be a co-author, because being a co-author is what's going to help you get clear on your story. I work with my clients to help them get that clarity and share their story in a powerful way. And now I have AI, so I've got
Yes.
my own chat GPT, and I've got my own like formula to use AI to make that process easier. But when you're a co-author, what that does is it gives you an immense audience, because not only are you marketing your book, your story, you've got 20 plus other people getting your story in front of their audiences. Plus you have our efforts, because when our books do launch, we do a major Amazon promotion, we do a major podcast promotion for a good 3 weeks, and then all of our clients get their own show, and then we do a gift giveaway and a summit. So we do all of these things in our co-authored books to give our clients a lot of exposure. But then I believe having a book is key, but I don't think that's the next step. I think the next step is creating your core program, because your core program
Yeah.
is, in essence, your book.
Yeah.
All of your modules are the chapters. And it's way easier and way better as a business professional to sell your core program, make money, use that money to have those lessons, even if you need to get an editor or a writer or a ghostwriter, take all of that, put it together to have your book, because your book is not going to be a huge revenue generator. It's going to be a credibility piece, but it's not necessarily going to make you money like a core program would. And so I'd say story, program, and then your book.
Oh, I love that because you just simplify the whole process, right? Instead of
Yes.
recreating and writing a whole new book, like
Yes.
you just need to take it from the program that you're already
Yes.
selling and getting results for clients. So
I
that is
mean,
super cool.
very simply, you could take the transcript from each of your teaching modules,
Mm.
right? Use that data. You could work with ChatGPT, you could get help, but all you really need to do is add some personal stories to the teaching, spruce it up, and then you have, and you don't, I mean, your first book doesn't have to be 50,000 words. Like we've done like little mini books. It can be as little as 20,000 words, but you'd be surprised when you do you're like, you teach all of your methodology to your clients and you have all that data transcribed, those words transcribed, you know, you'll have like a 30, 40,000 word book
Wow.
in no time by using the same teaching principles.
That is really cool. Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
Now, you mentioned AI a few times, right? Is this something that you embed as part of your program and teach your clients on how to use?
I do now.
Oh,
I
okay.
do now. Yeah. So I've done the last couple months, three of them already, interactive workshops for story creation with my AI assistant, Brandy Bot. So she's
Nice.
super cool, and she is the face of my AI assistant. And in my core coaching program, we use specific prompts that will help my clients not only refine their core offer, but like refine all of the pieces that usually used to take a lot of time to do, can be done so much faster and sometimes so much better if it has the right input, the right prompts to give you the results that you want.
Oh, I love that. And I love the fact that you're actually keeping up with the tech and embedding all of that into the process as well and teaching your clients. That is super, super important.
Yeah.
I love that. Now, before we come to the end of this episode, all right, do you have any last words or anything that you're just itching to tell our audience that we haven't mentioned yet?
Oh, itching, itching, itching. Oh, yes, I do. And I have partnered with a few people I'm super excited about because both you and I have been on a couple cruises together, business
Yes,
cruises that have been fun. That's when I first met you in November.
absolutely.
Um, and I caught the cruise bug. And one of the things that I love about the cruises was I was able to like have me time and sit on my balcony and just do stuff for me that allowed me to kind of like refill my bucket and recharge for what's next. And so I'm not a big fan of go, go, go and, classroom. And when you're on a cruise, sitting in all these little rooms and learning all this stuff, though some of it's really good, I
Right.
just felt that I wanted to create something that was more of an experience for women. So we just actually this morning went live. I don't know when this is airing, but as of recording date, we went live with our website for our Rise Higher at Sea cruise. And it is just going to be an amazing way for not only me and my co-host, I guess you want to say, but for anybody that wants to be a team leader and bring their client and invite their tribe so we can all be leaders together and then all teach what we know and have these experiential workshops that people can go to or not. But it's really all about more resting, reviving, restoring so we can rise higher together.
Oh my goodness. I love that. And who
I
doesn't
know.
cruise, right? Like cruises
On
are
Virgin
awesome.
Voyages too, so it's going to be a luxury cruise
Oh,
experience.
there you go. There you go. Now, I know at this point, Christy, people are thinking, oh my goodness, I need to speak with Christy. I need to find out more of what she does. Or they're thinking, I need to hire her. Right. So, where can they go to reach out to you to learn more stuff, or to just have a conversation to see how you can help them?
Yeah, well, so my core website is christieruffino.com, and that does take you to a lot of other places. But I also have a link that I share on my show. And I thought that would be the best resource to share. It's called getthewholescoop.com. So if you go to getthewholescoop.com, you could learn about all of the different, games I'm playing, all of the different things that I'm doing for people to connect and grow together.
Oh, I love that. Guys, Christy knows so much about business. It doesn't matter which niche you're in, I'm sure that she'll be able to help you, direct you on the right path if you're stuck, and be
Yeah.
able to fill those gaps. So please, please, please go ahead, reach out to her. Go and check out her podcast as well. Go to her website. And just learn more about what she does and how she can help you. I promise you, you will not regret it. She's awesome.
Oh, okay. So are you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, Chrissy, thank you so much for coming to the show. I feel like I can speak with you all day long,
I
right?
know.
About
I
all
know.
different things. And the cruise sounds amazing as well. Guys,
Yeah.
go and find out more about this cruise, right? Voyagers, and it's for people that want to kind of lift themselves up higher. It's going to be amazing. I'm looking to find out more about this as well. Awesome. Thank you for coming to the show, Christie.
Thank you, Kay. I appreciate the invitation. And this was so much fun.
It was, absolutely. Thanks for listening to Make Your Mark podcast at www.makeyourmarkpodcast.com. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get this and every other episode that comes out. We have lots of great stuff coming, so make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss it. And thank you in advance for all the reviews and comments. I appreciate it so much, and I look forward to serving you in next week's episode.